Sexism to me is invalidating someone's illness or pain because of their gender.
Sexism to me is pressure to behave in a certain way.
Sexism to me is letting the man be the man of the house.
Sexism to me is to have less opportunities because of my gender.
Sexism to me is gender distortion on the basis of sex.
This channel is actually part of a series that we would like to introduce for our class project. We are currently learning about intercultural communication, and today we are going to discuss how culture relates to a highly spoken topic of sexism. It's actually crazy to think about how sexism is still a battle women face to this day, but it's safe to say that culture is one of the rooted factors that influence sexism. In this video, we are going to discuss about theories related to this topic as well as applications that will put things into perspective.
Sexism: discrimination or prejudice based on sex or gender, especially against women and girls. Fred R. Shapiro suggests that the term sexism was coined by Pauline Leet in 1965 at the Franklin and Marshall College. Pauline Leet described sexism by comparing it to racism. She said, "When you argue that since fewer women write good poetry, this justifies their total exclusion, you are taking a position analogous to that of racist. I might call you, in this case, a sexist." A lot of cultures in the past were patriarchal. This could be traced back to the culture's religious beliefs. Men were regarded as the heads of the household, which was not necessarily a bad thing, because at the time, both men and women saw themselves as equal until they abused their power and started seeing themselves as more superior to women. Women in ancient Rome civilization would not vote or hold political office, even though they were regarded as citizens. However, women from wealthy or powerful families could and often did exert influence through private negotiations. In some cultures, sexism did and still continues to allow or overlook cases of sexual abuse or domestic violence. Today, due to culture's depiction of men being superior and tough, men are shunned upon for trying to speak up about their experiences of sexual abuse or domestic violence.
Butler and Paisley place sexism on a scale of consciousness to clearly outline the representation of the sexes in the media. At level 1, a man and a woman are represented in the media as mere objects, as decorations in adverts. At level 2, they are given womanly or manly roles. A woman is represented in roles such as nursing and a man in the sports industry. Level 3, they can pursue their passions as long as their priority is to their manly or womanly role. She can be an architect as long as she prepares dinner by 6 p.m. Level 4 is a level of total equality of the sexes. And level 5 is non-stereotypic. A man and a woman are viewed as inferior to each other in some respects and superior in other respects. Different cultures exhibit different levels of sexism depending on the media representation in that region. These levels of media sexism reinforce George Gardner's cultivation theory, which states that the media shapes our perceptions, beliefs, and attitudes. Through its storytelling function, it provides socio-cultural ideals that shape our culture. When the media portrays women as limited or unworthy, then its audience's image are similarly so. Pingree and Hawkins suggest that the only way we can overcome this is if we teach ourselves and our children that these constraints are not legitimate.
Hi guys, it's story time! So down to business, today I'll be telling you the story of Khumalo and Tando, two South African people who have been working in the medical industry. Khumalo is a female neurosurgeon with 7 years of experience. Throughout her career, she has faced several instances where people mistreated her and even questioned her professional capabilities because they expected her title to be occupied by a man. For them, as a woman working at a hospital, Khumalo could only be a nurse. Nothing bigger than that. When she goes home after a tiring shift of work, Kumalo receives a lot of love from her family, but she immediately rushes to the kitchen because, as a woman, that's where she's supposed to be. Her husband is a very supportive man, but he does not volunteer to help her with housework because, after all, it's her primary duty. Tando, on the other hand, is a male nurse with 10 years of experience. Throughout his career, he has faced so many discouraging and discriminative moments where people and patients have admitted not feeling comfortable to be treated by him, have assumed his sexual orientation, or even looked down on him for being a male nurse because for them, nurses are supposed to be women or not men, so he should do better. Tando dreads going home because he knows he's going to find his wife who, just like everyone else, is constantly telling him to do better, without even considering that that's what he likes to do. The stories of Kumalo and Tando are clear illustrations of how some cultures and the media promote very stereotyped expectations for men and women, and these stereotyped expectations are later on used as vehicles for discrimination.
Indeed, this discussion has led us to see that culture is the fabric of our society. And in every society exists both man and woman, hence the complex relationship between gender and culture. Culture tells me my gender identity, my gender role, my gender relations, and thus leaving the bigger picture in the room, which is the sexism dilemma. Do we have male inclusion in sexism, or do we have exclusion of males from the topic of discussion, from what is on the table? Because since time immemorial, scholars have said that sexism is discriminatory, especially to women. Secondly, with the diversity and personal intimacy of cultures all over the world, can we then as scholars go to specific cultures and tell them, hey, you're being sexist, stop what you have been doing since from when you have been doing it? Can you really do that without being ethnocentric or condescending? Quite difficult then it is to either eradicate or reduce sexism. And lastly, yet most crucially, is sexism a static, inescapable reality, or is it just an illusion?